You are listening to KELP El Paso. Feed your mind, feed your soul at 1590 AM, 95.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at KELPradio.com.
915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host,
Yes, so today we have installed our new board.
Okay, what's a board?
It's a soundboard to control our microphones and our audio coming into our lives, our app, the radio AM and FM as well. So,
it sounds fancy.
yeah.
What was wrong with the old one?
Man, it was glitching. A lot of buttons weren't working anymore. So, yeah, we're
It's a huge
breaking
answer.
in a new one.
It's an answer to prayer.
Amen.
And in our more attentive listeners may have noticed that from time to time over the past couple of weeks, quite possibly this radio station has gone off the air.
Yes, definitely.
But from now on, you're promising that won't happen anymore. Isn't that right, Mac Daddy?
Yes, it's 90% chance promise because we're still working out some stuff, but it should be less. That way our listeners can enjoy their programs and be able to listen to KLP.
They can feed their mind. They can feed their soul
through the app. Through the radio station on their cars, at their household, on YouTube and Facebook. So
but it can be a stressful process, right?
Yes, of course.
As we go on our way to a bold and beautiful new future of Christian radio broadcasting here in the borderland.
Yes, definitely.
We have this whole pile of old equipment in the other room. I wish everyone could see it. I think we'll just keep it there forever, just so we can go in there and laugh.
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
We can make a post.
Is it for sale?
Is it for sale? Yes. Yes. To the first bidder of any amount.
Nice.
Yeah. So I asked you about your stress levels today because I don't know if you know this, Mac Daddy Del Norte. In one of the 3 churches you go to on the weekend.
Yes.
Do they ever teach about anxiety?
I'm sure we've been preached about it.
Yeah, you've heard.
I've heard about, at least with my dad. He's preached about anxiety.
Okay.
But not so much taught. I mean, it might be the same thing though. I mean,
yeah, because the Bible says don't be anxious.
Exactly.
So problem solved. Program is over.
Amen. Let's pray.
Yes.
Well, so, but there is a second part to that verse, and it is a journey to overcome anxiety, deal with stress in our lives. So we have a very good friend with us, Mac Daddy Del Norte. He is on a journey to be the most, not the most common, the most frequent guest on
Frequent
915.
flyer.
Yes,
Yes. Frequent flyer of 915 Talk. He is the executive director of Living Hope Counseling.
Nice.
Here in El Paso.
Yes.
Good folks over there. Every pastor I ever talked to about Living Hope Counseling speaks highly of them. And I know that does not happen by accident. Just like the echo that is no longer coming from my microphone.
Nice.
That did not happen by accident. So
There
I
you
appreciate you, Mac Daddy.
Yes.
I appreciate
Thank you.
Joseph for being
Joseph
here.
is here with us.
Yeah,
been helping us
it's
throughout
a
this
big
process.
deal. Immerse DAVL? Yeah,
Yes.
good folks. They did a gargantuan task here at the radio
yes.
station today.
Oh, yes.
So we appreciate them. If you're looking for an upgrade on your church's sound,
Yep.
Give us a call at the station. We'll put you in touch
Oh,
with them.
yeah,
Good
definitely.
folks. So appreciate them. But we have a lot to talk about with anxiety.
Yes.
You and I both need to overcome anxiety in our life.
We do.
Yeah,
We do.
especially after the past few weeks.
Oh, man, yes.
So without
No
further
kidding.
ado, let's give a very warm Borderland welcome to the one, the only, Mr. Robert Hart.
So glad to be here as always.
Robert, welcome back to 915 Talk.
I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's talk about a little bit about anxiety is the college word for something we're all very familiar with.
The college word. What do you mean?
Meaning like it's a big fancy word. It's a big fancy way to say scared,
Oh.
right? Or
Frightened.
worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Or fear, right? It's just a fear response. And, the truth is God hardwired us for, I hear a little bit of that echo now too. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think they're working on it.
Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you.
because we're an AM radio station, our listeners think it sounds just fine.
That's great. Listen, I got the privilege of coming into all the newness here in the studio today.
I know
and
that
it is
you're
fantastic.
I feel like this is perfect because we're talking about anxiety. Mm-hmm. You came in. You're the first guest that we have live with our new system.
How
As
amazing.
we're working through anxiety, even as we're talking
Absolutely.
about anxiety.
Absolutely.
So anxiety is a fancy word for just being scared.
Yeah, for fear. And as you said in Scripture, it is the thing that we're instructed or urged or encouraged most often to work against, right? That we're not to be afraid,
Yeah,
that we're supposed to
fear
trust
not.
God. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Think of all the interactions that people have with the Lord and with circumstances where God is encouraging us not to be afraid. So a lot of people, because fear is uncomfortable, they really want to cut it out of our lives. And that's really not an option, right? If you're standing on the edge of a cliff, if you're driving in between two semi-trucks on I-10,
My teenage sons talk about that a lot.
yeah.
Driving between semis.
Yeah. I don't need you to be petrified.
Right.
It doesn't need to cause you to take uncontrollable or rash actions, but you should probably be feeling something. So it's not the kind of thing that we're going to get rid of. It's always going to be with us. But the question is, does it interfere with our functioning? And
Right.
if so, that's where we have to be able to cast it out. And fortunately, there is, there's ways to do that. God's provided both directly and indirectly. And so I just thought we might talk about just identifying it in our lives, all the different ways that we experience it, then maybe some practical steps before we go.
That would be fantastic. I could use more practical steps with dealing with anxiety. So we're dealing kind of with this tension here, though, of this idea that you're saying fear can keep us from dangerous situations.
Absolutely. Like if you're standing on the edge of a cliff.
Right.
Like it can cause you to become very, very aware. Ooh, I need to be careful with my
I need
footsteps.
to take a step backwards.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But at the same time, I like the words you used. You don't want to be petrified.
Yeah.
And so we need to continue to function as human beings and not be afraid of a lion in the streets and just staying at home.
Correct. Well, and I don't want, you can say, hey, Robert, off-air conversation is off-air versus on-air.
Right.
Well, you just talked about spending, over 20 years in a country where there was a real threat against you and how just being here back in the United States doesn't just make all that disappear and go away.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we were talking before we went on air. I was sharing about living overseas, living in Russia, and just 23 years of living on high alert.
Yeah.
And coming to America, this is a story I might have shared on air before. But we were. It was our first week back in the United States, and I received a text message, and the text message was, "What kind of pizza do you like?" And I got scared because it was a regular text message, not sent through an encrypted messaging service. I thought, well, how is it like they're not concerned that someone else is going to be reading this text message?
Yep.
And like that was the level of all those years. And so it obviously, who cares what kind of pizza anyone likes? That is not a security issue.
Yes.
But that's the result of being on high alert.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you experienced in that moment was very real, but it was not based on truth.
Right.
There was no threat.
Right.
But your body, because it was experiencing it as real, it interpreted it as truth, and those are very different things.
Sure. Yeah, it felt real for a second.
Sure.
At least.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, the difference between having an experience of fear or anxiety versus having, maybe a potentially diagnosable condition that's an anxiety disorder is it has a lot to do with how often it happens.
Okay.
It has to do with when it happens, how intense does it get for you, and when it happens, how long does it stick around? And it sounds like, although that might have been kind of intense, for you, it did not stick around very long.
Not that particular.
Yeah. Not that particular incident. Yeah.
So speaking to that, like, what would be like a rule of thumb that you might have a disorder?
Well, how about we talk about what normal would be first before we start talking about the disorders?
Right.
Like,
what is normal? I've never lived that, Robert.
Well, maybe normal would not be the best choice. How about typical or average?
All right.
Common.
Yeah.
Well, like, look, coming in here today, getting your text message to remind me, hey, we're going to meet today. My bodily tension went up. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to get on the air with Andy today, and we're going to talk about things, and I want to make sure that I accurately represent both my field, that I accurately represent the love of Christ in our conversations.
Yeah.
My tension and my anxiety went up. It went up from like a 0 to a less than 2.
Right.
Like a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10 in intensity. So it was very low. But it was just kind of a little nervous, jittery.
For a moment.
Yeah. And that's typical. People, when they have to get up and speak in front of others, public speaking is an example of very common. It falls under the category of anxiety, but it's not a disorder. Now, if I think about speaking in front of others and I break out into a sweat and I start to hyperventilate and I seize up, like I get frozen and I can't function, that's not typical.
Okay.
From an intensity, frequency, and duration perspective, that spikes higher than what you would expect for something that was not debilitating. So that would probably be a little closer to something that falls in the category of an anxiety type of a response.
Okay.
It's just the severity and how much it impairs with your ability to function. Those are probably the two big hallmarks of whether something crosses the line into being something that you might want to get help with.
I think the impairs the ability to function is along the same lines as being petrified.
Yes.
Two ways of saying essentially the same thing, and this idea that if anxiety is or fear is keeping you from action.
Correct.
You're
driving you to do destructive action.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Fear can cause you to proactively go, oh my gosh, you're about to hit me, so I'm going to throw this phone in your face.
Right.
And you're just sitting there staring at me like, dude, what just happened?
Yeah, or into some kind of addiction or...
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, bringing back the hits from prior shows.
Yeah, greatest hits of Robert Hart of Living Hope Christian
That's right.
Counseling. Yeah. Okay. So this idea that it's not okay, it's not normal if the fear is causing you or inhibiting you from taking action.
Yeah.
Positive action.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And it often we often accelerate with anxiety, right? I think the last couple of times we've talked a little more so about depression, and from an energy perspective, anxiety increases energy, but not necessarily in a good way. Because common symptoms of anxiety include things like muscle tension increase, blood pressure increase, heart rate increase.
Okay.
It's like hitting the gas pedal inside your body.
Right.
And so often that results in thinking very quickly and feeling a sense of urgency that I must make a decision here, right now, immediately, when perhaps slowing down and being a little more thoughtful would be helpful. That's anxiety tends to drive us in that direction.
You know what's interesting? I'm going to bring in a totally different conversation that we've had at least twice on this program with IT guys and talking about internet scams. And there's a very direct parallel between what you're saying and an internet scam or any kind of scam. The scam always makes it sound urgent and kind of forces you to make a quick, unwise decision.
Correct.
And so if I'm going through an anxiety, what am I going to call it? An anxiety scenario.
Sure.
Then I might remind myself maybe I'm getting scammed.
Correct. I mean, listen, using our cues from our body are super helpful in ways, and that's what we're going to talk about in terms of things you can do to combat that. That's one of the major things to clue in on is how's my body responding to this situation? Because anxiety, all emotions you can usually feel somewhere in your body, but anxiety is one that's very almost quickly and most easily identifiable because it is related to tension. So, like, for example, you cannot be both relaxed and anxious at the same time. Right. There's a one-to-one connection with physical tension and emotional stress. So if I am relaxed, I am literally emotionally not relaxed. Not anxious. I may be something else, right? I could still be depressed or I could still be happy, but if I'm physically relaxed, I am not going to emotionally be experiencing anxiety. So typically when a person is feeling something in their body, if they're paying attention to it, chances are if it's expressing itself physically, it's going to be connected to fear or anxiety, that fight or flight response, right?
Right. And so, yeah, we're saying pay attention to what's happening in your body.
Yes.
And then we're going to go into a break here in a moment, and we're going to talk about what to do if you have identified this tension in your body. We've also stated that we're not going to say it's a disorder because nothing in this broadcast is in any way to be construed as medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. We're just two guys having a conversation.
Absolutely.
And if you're struggling with anxiety, you can just call the fine folks at Living Hope Counseling here in El Paso, and they will get to understand the specifics of your situation and work through that with you. But I think this is a good reminder for our listeners. We live in modern society where I think everyone is experiencing some level of anxiety, and as the church, as people of God, if we learn how to work through anxiety, we will definitely be a better light to the city, to our neighbors, because we can live lives of joy, peace. We can respond kindly, even in stressful situations, and people will see there's something different about us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us with Robert Hart, he is the executive director of Living Hope Counseling here in El Paso, a good friend of this program, and He's on his journey to become the most frequent flyer as a guest here on 915 Talk. It truly is a gift to us, to our listening audience, that you give us this time each month as we learn to just talk about mental health issues. I think for some Christians it can be difficult to talk about these things because maybe we've been taught that, well, you just need to pray about it and it'll go away. But I believe we need to talk through these things and understand that we live in this world. We have the truth of Scripture. We have the power of the Holy Spirit in our lives. And through Scripture and through what we understand about our bodies,
Yep.
we can take some specific steps together with the Lord to be set free from some of these mental health issues. So always appreciate you coming on. We're about to go into a break. Before we go into the break, this is your daily reminder that 915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. And so if you go to desertvoice.media, that's the website, you can take advantage of that big green donate button, and that's provides fuel for us as we look to serve the city through this radio ministry. We appreciate each and every one of you who takes the time each and every weekday afternoon as we look to just serve our community with local programming, as we get to know our neighbors, as we get to know some of the great people around town, just like Robert Hart here today, who are doing really, really cool things for our community. We're going to go into a break. We'll be talking more about the steps of moving, what are we going to say, moving out of anxiety?
Yeah, well, coping with it.
Coping with it. All right. Navigating it.
Correct.
All right. We'll be talking about that after we come back from this break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Greetings, KELP listeners. This is Terry Gray, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Sun City, and speaker on the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on this station. Calvary Chapel, Sun City is located at 960 West Borderland Road on the west side of El Paso. We hold services on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11. If you are without a church home, we would love to have you join us for worship and Bible study. You can find out more information about us on the web at www.ccsuncity.org.
915.
Testify.
So growing up, I actually grew up to be a Muslim. And it wasn't up until high school when I started going to church and I didn't know who Jesus Christ really was. It wasn't up until April of this past year in 2024 when I fully surrendered to Christ. I was an alcoholic. I was a man full of lust. I was just lost in the sinful nature of this world. And I didn't know how to comprehend certain things. I didn't know how to have a proper relationship. It was just tormenting me from the inside. But I'm here to tell you today that Jesus Christ changed my life for the better, serving at the capacity, knowing that I have a purpose and moving with that purpose because I know that the world is coming to an end soon. My name is Marvis Davis, and I'm here to tell you that if Jesus Christ did it for me, he could also do it for you too.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb
And by the word of their testimony.
desertvoice.com.
Greetings, KELP listeners. This is Terry Gray, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Sun City, and speaker on the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on this station. Calvary Chapel, Sun City is located at 960 West Borderland Road on the west side of El Paso. We hold services on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11. If you are without a church home, we would love to have you join us for worship and Bible study. You can find out more information about us on the web at www.ccsuncity.org.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you are listening to 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Frecka. Today, we are with Mr. Robert Hart, the Executive Director of Living Hope Counseling here in El Paso. We're talking about anxiety. We're going to be talking about steps to cope or navigate anxiety. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person in El Paso who deals with anxiety.
Probably.
Yeah,
well, that's the rest of us Christians, right? We're never scared.
Well, that's why I have this radio show, so that I can get
work it out.
Yeah, work it out. That's right.
Nice.
But before we get into the steps of navigating, what are some of the contributing factors to anxiety, other than running a radio station and switching out all the equipment, and being live for the first time on air with the new equipment?
Exactly. Well, for us common folks, everyday culprits that contribute to stress and anxiety include things like work, of course, or school, relationships, financial issues. There's health, and just even caffeine sometimes contributes, because that gets our tension up in our bodies.
Yeah. Mac Daddy Del Norte, he drinks a lot of caffeine.
Yes.
Maybe that's why he's been so worried about the equipment.
So, but thank you for stimulating the economy.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. So, now there's some modern twists on some of those things too. Like we're discovering more and more that tech actually amplifies anxiety, right?
I thought my phone took away anxiety, but you're saying it actually adds.
Actually increases it.
Oh,
Doom
really?
scrolling, FOMO, social media comparisons.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
I found the best thing to help me fall asleep is to put my phone in front of my face with access to all the world's news.
Indeed.
That
yes.
just helps me
it just helps
drift
you
off.
Yes. Or pass out, right?
Right,
One or
exactly.
the other. You say sleep, I say coma.
Yes.
And obviously we live in a world post-COVID as well, and just all of that spiked everyone's anxiety, right? We were being told every day, we're giving death tolls, and how being closer than 6 feet to somebody was going to lead to the death of everyone that we loved and cared for. So, and even on top of that, there's just individual differences. Some of us are a little more prone to being sensitive to picking up on the stressors of life and or potential threats. So, all those things contribute to anxiety. But the thing I want to kind of, before we head into our next break, I want to just point out to everyone is that it is easy to think that anxiety and stressor are outside of our body.
Okay.
Right. For example, everything I just listed here, the school, work, relationships, social media, money, except for health and caffeine, all that other stuff is outside of my body.
Okay.
But that is not the thing that actually causes anxiety. That's all inside of me. It's what I do with it on the inside, which when we get to the coping strategies, you're going to see they're not so much about manipulating or trying to control the things outside of me, because most of the things outside of me I cannot control. I don't control many, many things about my work. When I was a student, I controlled practically none of that except studying. In relationships, I never control the other person.
Right.
Even though I've tried many, many times. My wife can testify to that. It doesn't work.
Right.
And that doesn't actually change my anxiety or stress. It often exacerbates it or makes it worse.
Okay.
So,
Well, I want to dive definitely a little bit more into that to understand this internal, this external component. But we have Charlie 1 on the phone right now. Charlie 1, what are you seeing out on the roads this afternoon? Anything that would contribute to our anxiety levels? Charlie 1? Charlie 1. Oh, what's going on, Charlie 1? This is contributing to my anxiety levels.
is this related to the new board and equipment?
Yes, I ordered Charlie 1. I don't know. Okay. Is he still on the phone? Okay. All right. Just 1 minute. This is us working through our new equipment. This is what is contributing. So is this happening to me internally or externally right now, Robert?
Well, the lack of equipment functioning is definitely external, but notice you're breathing.
Yeah, you hear that?
That's all inside of you. Yeah, because you're telling yourself something about what's happening, and it may be that.
Yeah. I feel like Charlie 1's disconnected.
That sounds like it.
Yeah. Okay.
The young ones today may have never heard that sound, right? Because that's not a sound you get on a cell phone, is it?
So you're saying that what's happening on the phone is with Charlie 1 is external.
Correct.
But I'm experiencing it internally.
Correct.
That's the point.
That is correct. And we forget that we control almost everything inside of our body. In fact, I would make a case that you actually can control everything inside your body.
Like your heart rate?
You can. It's just that you don't necessarily control all those things directly. You control them indirectly. So if I want my heart rate to go up, I can make it go up. If I stand up right now and start running in place or doing jumping jacks, my heart rate will change. That's an indirect change. Likewise, if I want to bring it down, there are steps I can take. And that's going to be part of the things that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit, which is the things that we can do to change our internal state.
Okay. All right. So we're going to try again. Charlie 1, can you hear me? Charlie 1? Are we going to have no traffic report? No traffic report today. It's okay. Oh, that wasn't Charlie 1 right there? It sounds like Charlie 1's driving down I-10 right now. All right. Well, no traffic report today. Sorry, folks. We're back with Robert Hart of Living Hope Counseling, and we're talking about stress. We're talking about anxiety, fear, and just the most scary thing that could ever happen to you on the radio just happened. The traffic report didn't happen. Yeah. All right. So we're talking about internal, that we can control that.
Correct. So, for example, it starts with, what am I telling myself about what is happening? Who decides what I tell myself about what is going on?
So let's talk about social media. Okay.
Yes.
Because you brought up social media.
Yes, I did.
Social media is telling me something.
Okay.
But I can still control how I perceive what I'm reading.
Or
viewing.
Sure. And you can decide whether or not that's accurate.
Okay.
Right? If you say, well, you, Andy, you and I are both old enough to remember the phrase, 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Right? That's for us older listeners.
Right.
Of course, could 50 million Elvis fans be wrong?
Well, when it comes to elections, I think the people who voted for the person who didn't win are always astonished at how many people can be wrong.
Yes. Yeah, well.
And democracy proves that you can put the all human intelligence together and not always come up with the best possible solution.
Correct. That is a true statement. So, but what we tell ourselves about it. So when you talk about social media, I may be getting feedback that 30,000 of my followers are saying to me, 1-star rating, Robert Hart is busy right now. Right? I may be getting that feedback, but what I tell myself is going to determine my emotional experience about it, because I could easily tell myself, that 30,000 follower response is 100% bot generated, and someone else is in charge of the bots, and that's not actual feedback, and I can choose to dismiss it.
Right.
Now, if everyone then stops coming to see me as my business collapses because of the 30,000 pieces of feedback, then I'm going to probably tell myself something different. But my point is, what we tell ourselves about what's happening is actually more powerful and a better indicator of my emotional experience than what is actually occurring.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Because it feels to me like, and I know this isn't what you're saying,
yes,
but it's what I'm hearing.
Okay,
is lie to yourself.
Not at all what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. I've had negative feedback on social media. I've received threats in the past on social media for bodily harm and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And did that result in anxiety for you?
For a brief moment.
Okay. So not the debilitating kind.
No.
Just a minor blip.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't it linger? Why didn't it stick around?
I saw one of them I was sure was a bot. In another situation, I knew that the person lived far enough away he couldn't follow through.
There you go. The point I'm getting at right there is that none of that was a lie, but what you told yourself about it was more powerful than what actually was happening or what occurred. The threat occurred.
Yeah.
And it resulted in a little bit of that fear response or the anxiety response, but what you told yourself changed the fear response. That was more important than the fact that you actually had a threat.
Right.
So it wasn't the thing outside of you, it was the internal dialogue that mattered the most.
Okay.
So that's my only point. I'm not trying to say lie to yourself. What I'm saying is, if you're experiencing fear and anxiety and it is interfering with your life, the first thing you want to do is just check, what are you saying to yourself about the thing that's happening? Because the thing that you say to yourself might be making your fear worse, it might be making it stronger, and it might be causing you to experience things not based on what is actually happening, but just based on the story you're telling yourself. The internal world is very powerful.
Right. So what would you say about folks who spend a lot of time watching the news? because I mean, I would say a lot of the news is actually happening.
It is happening. Correct.
A lot of it. I'm not going to say everything that comes on the television is
there is some fake news.
True.
Correct.
Yeah.
I get that.
So, what would you say about that part of anxiety?
I would say this about people who get anxious looking at and watching news. Most people have forgotten that the purpose of almost all news these days is to attract your attention. Okay? If that is their purpose, what are they feeding you? They are feeding you something that will capture your attention.
Fear.
And fear and anger, social outrage, that captures people's attention. So if I recognize, just looking at what I'm putting in air quotes as news, I need to know going in, the whole purpose of that is to capture my attention. If I recognize that ahead of time, then I already go in knowing that their stated objective is probably going to be to scare me on some level. It's like going into a haunted house that I know their stated objective is to startle me. Right? Okay, well, if I know
we
that...
just had Halloween. I think that's like a good reminder. Like, if you're turning on the news, it's actually their purpose.
Yes, it is literally their stated objective. Like, because we live in a capitalistic society, they do that because if they can keep you there longer, then they are going to sell you whatever it is they're going to sell you.
Right.
And a lot of times they're literally trying to sell you products, but sometimes they're trying to sell you services. Like, hey, come to our paid subscription site and hear even more things that are way scarier than this.
Yeah.
Right? And because it's just about capturing your attention. So to me, if you just recognize that going in the door, it gives you an advantage to mitigate and bring down some of that fear already. So,
okay. If you're just joining us, we're with Robert Hart of Living Hope Christian Counseling Service. They're here in El Paso. We're about to go into a break. Robert, I do want to ask you, though, before we go into the break, we've talked in previous episodes of 915 Talk about marital issues, dealing with addiction, pretty heavy stuff. How often does someone come to Living Hope because of anxiety?
I would say it's the number one issue that I see, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is often tied to past experiences, and people experience this fear that it is either going to continue or that it is currently happening but will never end. I think that's at the root or the heart of probably 70 to 80% of the people who come to Living Hope. So it's a very big deal.
That's interesting, because I think when we were talking about addiction or marital issues, I'll use those two examples, that people often only want to come when it's a major emergency and they feel like there's even no chance to fix it. It's like the last thing they do is they reach out to Living Hope. But with anxiety, it's maybe just folks understanding that they need to function. Like what is the motivational factor for them to reach out?
Yeah, well, they're definitely wanting relief from it. And even in the two cases that you just listed, marital issues and addictions, the people that are sitting in front of us, usually the things contributing to the marital issues or the addictions is anxiety related.
Oh, interesting.
So, but for the people who walk in the door and they know that anxiety is their driving issue, like, for example, they're having a hard time sleeping at night, which is a symptom of anxiety.
Right.
It's like they can't turn their mind off. It's just running through all the what ifs, or gosh, the regrets. I really wish I had done this differently today, or gosh, what if this soundboard problem, and we don't ever hear from Charlie 1, oh my gosh, is the Menudo going to still be there next time? Like when they know that that's their issue coming in the door, that often brings people in because they're wanting relief from that. And the good news is there is relief from it.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to talk about some of that here, I think, after our next break.
Yeah, so we're about to go into a break. We're with Robert Hart of Living Hope Counseling Service. They're here in El Paso, and this is the part of the program where we often thank those impact partners for KELP Radio. And today we want to thank our KELP impact partner, which is Living Hope Counseling Service. If you're dealing with anxiety, if you're dealing with marital issues, all of these things that we're talking about, you can reach out to Living Hope Christian Counseling Service. If you're looking to find them on the web, you can actually just go to kelpradio.com, scroll down to that Impact Partner section, and you'll just click on Living Hope Christian Counseling Service. If you prefer to use a phone and make a phone call, the number is 915-772-2237 for Living Hope Counseling Service here in El Paso. We thank Living Hope for joining us in our radio journey to serve our community. We thank all of our impact partners. We're going to go into a break, and we'll talk when we get back about the steps for navigating anxiety with Robert Hart. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. That's right. It's people just like you who make this program possible. Together with Desert Voice, you can learn how to better serve our neighbors and pray for our community. To become a Desert Voice Media partner, you can visit desertvoice.media. That's right. That's the website, desertvoice.media. Take a look and join us today in reaching our borderland for Christ.
Hey, 915 Talk listeners, streaming worldwide.
We start looking at biological systems and approaching them from an engineering standpoint.
And he had a tiger as his pet. That little boy was me. From Mafia Princess to God's Princess.
You hear about God, but you don't ever see God. Jesus was there all along.
Desertvoice.media.
Christians are called to be ambassadors of truth.
Hey, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbor, and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk, broadcasting every weekday from 4 to 5 p.m.
testify.
When I was 11 years old, my parents had an abusive relationship that ended with a divorce. My father began drinking excessively and my mother left us. I took responsibility for my siblings, but in the process, I built up aggression and anger because I didn't have a normal teenage life. I began fighting and got kicked out of school. My last fight led to charges being pressed against me. I was on the path to juvenile. Thankfully, it did not go any further. I was giving community hours. In search of a place that could help me, I ended up in church. During the worship practices, I fell in love with the music they played for God. I was asked if I wanted to sing with the band. I automatically said yes. I married the worship leader and now have 2 beautiful kids. God rescued me from the dark path I was on and molded me to the wife and mother I am today. He brought the peace that I was in search of during my teenage years. My name is Jeanette Delgado. If God did this for me, He can do it for you.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb
and by the word of their testimony.
DesertVoice.media.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you're listening to 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Fracca. Today we're with Robert Hart of Living Hope Christian Counseling Service here in El Paso. We're talking about anxiety, and Robert, we've teased our audience long enough. We're talking about anxiety, what causes it, it's internal, all of these things, and I think we now need to finally talk about what to do about it.
Well, and we've been talking about one of the most significant strategies that we really pull right out of Scripture, and it is the cognitive strategies. It's what we think, right? The whole cognitive model of counseling really is found right there in Scripture, New Testament. Jesus says, listen, right, you've heard it said, don't murder. But if you look on the inside, the things that you're thinking are murderous, angry thoughts. That precedes action. So deal with what you're thinking on the inside, and the murderous actions don't tend to happen on the outside. He says that about lust. He says it about a lot of different things. And
it's not that which goes into the mouth that defiles a man, but that which comes out of the mouth.
Correct. That's exactly right. From the abundance of your heart, and that includes your mind, right? The abundance of your thoughts. Your mouth is going to speak. So looking at and correcting what we're saying to ourselves goes a long way in addressing fear.
Okay.
Right? The statement, well, what about and what if, just those 4 words, what if and what about, those are the very heart of anxiety. They are words that are pointing out something has not happened yet, but my body is responding as if it's already happened. So if I'm sitting here looking at you going, oh my gosh, what if Andy hits me? Well, guess how my body's going to respond? It's going to respond as if you either already have hit me or are just about to, even if that's not even on your mind.
Right.
So the cognitive strategies are probably the most common and the most quick to identify. Maybe not the easiest to correct, but definitely the easiest to identify. The other one that we started to talk about a little bit was noticing the physical cues, and since anxiety is very physical and it's typically related with tension, one of the things that you can do that really helps anxiety is relaxation.
Okay.
And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. If you don't have, a significant amount of time, like say 20 to 30 minutes to like literally kind of check out and close your eyes and self-soothe, sometimes you just have to do some small things to shift your focus on the thing that is normally contributing to your stress. I call it the sensory scavenger hunt. Now
the sensory scavenger hunt.
Yes. Now that's a phrase that has not yet been copyrighted, but I would like to copyright it effective right now. So whenever I want you to use this strategy and share it freely, just make sure to send a royalty check to Living Hope Counseling Service.
Perfect.
The sensory scavenger hunt is this. Again, since anxiety is very physically tense, which is a physical expression in your body, I want you to be able to turn your focus toward your senses, but not just to observe, but to actually direct. The sensory scavenger hunt would look like this. It'd be like, okay, Andy, you know what your 5 senses are, right? What you see, what you feel, what you taste, smell, and touch. So I usually have people start with what they can see. And again, you go on a scavenger hunt. As you start scanning what's around you, you try to find either colors or objects that are not common in the setting. So I'm sitting here in your studio. Gray and red are very common. So if I were going to do the sensory scavenger hunt, I would say I need to find 5 different things in this room that are blue.
Okay.
So now notice. So good. I like what
I'm
you're
looking
doing.
around.
Okay.
I see a cord that has a blue end to it.
That's one.
All right. Water bottle has some blue on it.
That's 2.
5 things?
Yeah.
Do you think I can find 5 things that are blue?
Well,
I found 2.
yes. Well, fortunately, we can also use, you have technology in front of you. There's another blue thing, little blue bubbles on my phone.
Right.
So 3, and if I wanted to then switch to my, I'm looking at a reflection here. It looks like I see.
Oh yeah, I see a
reflection of
blue
something
light. There's some blue light
coming through so there's 4.
Okay.
And so now my only point that I'm drawing your attention to right now is we have literally shifted your brain away from the thing
from
that
the overwhelming
from
gray and red in this studio.
Well, and I've also shifted your focus away, most likely from that which your mind was on if you were experiencing anxiety. And I've directed it towards your senses. And since anxiety and our physical sensations tend to be one-to-one connected to each other, I am now directing my senses in a way that tends to bring, if I want to get all technical with you, what I'm doing is I'm provoking your parasympathetic response, which is the brakes of the fight or flight response. Right, the gas pedal of the fight or flight response is the sympathetic response, which anxiety tends to be. Right, it's a ramping up. It's an increase in muscle tension, an increase in blood flow to my muscles so that I can run away or to engage and overcome any adversity. That's my sympathetic response system. My parasympathetic is relaxation, prepare me for bed, digest my food, meditate, contemplate what the Lord is doing in my life. Well, when I direct my senses, in this case we were directing our vision towards finding specific objects, I am pressing on the brake button of my internal system, the slowing down, or I'm activating my parasympathetic responses. So that was just my vision of the sensory scavenger hunt. Then if I were going to go to the next thing, I would probably do what I feel, and I would say, let's try to find 4 or 5 different textures in this room that are all different from one another.
Okay.
So what would you...
So there's the rubbery microphone cord.
Yep.
There's the smooth wooden tabletop. There's the ever so slightly fuzzy carpet. How am I doing?
That's pretty good.
All right.
And you could do your hair.
Yeah.
Your shirt.
My luxurious locks of my...
Yes. What remains anyway, right? So, so that's another one of my senses. It's again, I'm now, first of all, I'm just slowing down to include all of my senses. That's part of the pushing on the brake pedal that slows me down and relaxes my body. But it also is engaging my body in a way that, again, puts me in a position of control. Anxiety is often an awareness of that which I do not control. Like when Charlie 1 did not come on and your anxiety went up, how much control did you have over that?
Very, very little. I mean, I threw a Kleenex box at the window hoping that Mac Daddy Del Norte would patch Charlie 1 through, but it just didn't happen. I couldn't do anything about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so all we're doing now is things you can absolutely do something about. You can do
Right.
something about what you're looking at. You can do something about what you're tactile feeling. You can do something with what you're smelling. That one can get a little peculiar, right? Especially if you're in a crowd to say, okay, I want you to find 3 different smells, right? And you start smelling your arm, you start sniffing your phone, or, going to your neighbor and kind of checking them out. But again, we're incorporating all of the senses, and we're doing it in a way that is directed. Like, I know some people use a method that's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, and that's where you find 5 different things that you see and you say them out loud, 4 different things that you feel, 3 different things that you can smell, 2 different things that you can, what are my other sensations?
Taste?
Taste is one of them. I usually make that the 1.
Yeah.
Right. Because we got water here.
Yeah,
if you're in your kitchen, you can do a lot more. Right.
Sure.
It's kind of odd in other places. But we're doing a modified version of that. But the thing about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is you're more observing things. You're still in a position where you're not in control. If it's a scavenger hunt, you put yourself on a mission to look, feel, taste, hear, and smell. You're in control of it, as opposed to more passively just noticing.
Right, and I think what I'm hearing you also say, and we only have a couple minutes left, this has flown by, but you're basically explaining to your body, to your mind, to your emotions that there are other things happening in the world other than this one thing that is causing you anxiety.
Correct. You are absolutely doing that. You are snapping yourself out of what I call tunnel vision, right? Because usually anxiety and fear is very tunnel vision focused. So, and just as a final thought here is, listen, if anxiety has become the thing that dominates, if fear is the thing that dominates your thoughts and your body, that's probably a good sign that you might want to give us a call, Living Hope.
Absolutely.
Because we are trained professionals to help you get to a place where that is not the driving force in your life.
And that seems to be a common theme on this program, whether it be finances or this or, so many different things. That there's just take a step of humility, reach out to someone else. And Living Hope Counseling Service, great people, livinghopeccs.org, 915-772-2237. Robert, always appreciate you coming in. And we didn't get the traffic report from Charlie 1. But what I learned today is there are so many other great things happening in the world. And I just need to be aware of those things. And then that will help with the anxiety. How is that?
That's pretty awesome. I like that summary. I like it.
Yeah. So always appreciate you coming in. And I also,
it's my pleasure.
Again, I do want to say, how amazing would it be if the body of Christ in El Paso was living lives of peace and joy, and the world would know who the Lord is. So,
absolutely.
So let's deal with let's deal with the anxiety in our lives. And as we always say, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. In order to listen to previous editions of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media. Let's learn together to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.
Hi, I'm Johnny Erickson Tata. Is there a safe way to crash? Sounds counterintuitive, right? But according to the ESPN article, How to Crash, if a crash is inevitable, the best thing a NASCAR driver can do is to take his hands off the wheel to avoid injury to the thumbs or wrists. Well, I'm not a NASCAR driver, but I sure am thankful that as crazy as this world is, as much as it seems to be spinning out of control, God has not taken his hands off the wheel for a nanosecond. In fact, as 2 Chronicles chapter 20 puts it, in his hands are power and might. True True evil may seem to have the upper hand right now, but even awful things fall under the overarching decrees of the God of the Bible, who is working everything toward his end game. Nothing takes him by surprise. So rest assured, dear Christian, the Lord is in control, and that is better than any crash safety course.
You are listening to KELP El Paso. Feed your mind, feed your soul at 1590 AM, 95.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at KELPradio.com.
This weather is brought to you by Border Therapy of El Paso and Las Cruces. They are Christian-owned and operated. They help with back pain, arthritis, carpal tunnel syndrome, and balance issues. To find a location, go to bordertherapy.com. And now with our weather report, here's Doppler Dave.
Well, we're going to be looking good tonight. Skies will be clear. Overnight lows down to 53 degrees, and then for tomorrow, really a good portion of this week, we're looking good. 84 tomorrow, 83 on Wednesday, lots of sunshine, 82 on Thursday. We're going to be tracking a cold front coming in here late Saturday, Sunday, going to pick up the winds and bring us some colder air. I'm ABC 7 Chief Meteorologist Doppler Dave on KELP.
And now with our updated traffic report, here's Charlie 1.
Keith, good afternoon, everybody. And this update brought to you by Mi Perlita Cafe, 3120 Trey Road, open 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. Sunday through Wednesday. Tomorrow, breakfast, lunch, and dinner special, the Mexican plate, seafood, menudo every day, the 9:35 comida corrida lunch special, 11 to 2. Mi Perlita Cafe, 3120 Trey Road. First of all, Keith, we have in the Upper Valley, Talbot and Ray, we have traffic lights not working here. That's Talbot and Ray. We got to tap the brakes here quite a bit. Sluggish. I-10 East, Spaghetti Bowl through the Reynolds area, kind of tight on that traffic right there. And then also there's a closure going on tonight. We're talking about I-10 West and eastbound alternating lane closures between Horizon and Fabens. And also another closure that goes on is I-10 West between Viscount and Porfirio Diaz lane closures. Charlie 1 with KLP, and Keith, back to you.
The Summons broadcast is sponsored in part by Rodriguez Plastics, servicing all your countertop needs in the borderland. Rodriguez Plastics is located at 320 Valley Chili Road in Vinton, Texas, and can be reached at 915-886-9051 or by visiting them on the web at rodriguezplasticsinc.com.
Today on Summons with Pastor Terry Gray.
Jesus comes on the scene and he ushers in the age of grace and he ushers in a new age of truth. By the way, that doesn't mean that Moses didn't tell the truth. That doesn't mean that the law of the Old Testament was a lie. The truth of Moses and the law, the whole system of law, was meant to be a building block, a stepping stone, a complementary step to the greater system of grace.
What if I told you the law was never the final word? When Jesus stepped onto the scene, he ushered in a new age of grace and truth. That doesn't mean Moses or the Old Testament law was false. It was always a stepping stone, a building block pointing to something greater. In today's message, Pastor Terry reminds us that every command, every sacrifice, every law was preparing the way for Christ, the fullness of grace and truth. And now that he has come, we don't have to strive under the weight of the law. Now here's Pastor Terry in the book of John chapter 1 as he begins his message. It's always been grace.
We're going to start in John chapter 1. Very, very important material for us as Christians. Very important for us as students of the Bible. We're going to consider a concept that is very important to understanding the whole Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament, and how it all works. Verse 17 of John chapter 1. Look at it. It says, "For the law